All right, what's up? Omid here, and I'm going to be challenging myself to rank a money keyword #1 in Google in just 24 hours. Normally you think this is impossible, but I'm going to be packing all the same tricks and tactics I've been using on my own site and my clients' websites to help them push all the way up to the #1 ranking and get a lot of traffic. Because here's the thing, you could have the best content out there, but if Google doesn't show it and people don't land on your website, they're never going to be able to buy your products and services. So in just 24 hours, watch me find the perfect keyword, then write the article, then actually publish it, and then use a few tricks up my sleeve to help it push into the #1 ranking, hopefully in 24 hours. I don't even know if it's gonna work. Let's see if it does. Let me actually show you the time. So right now it is 10:50 on Tuesday, April 22nd. Set timer for 24-hour countdown.
Timers can be set for 24 hours or longer.
Gosh, Apple. So I maxed out the timer. Apparently I can do only 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds, but I'm gonna hit it. That's also 10:51 and start. Bada bing, bada boom, we're moving. That's the date, the time. I'm not BSing. All right, into the doc. Okay, I'm going a little old school with it with my old YouTube videos where I used to just write stuff in a doc, but this is basically what we're going to go through in this video. And first off is step 1, which is finding the perfect keyword. And I kind of put this section here of just quick and dirty ranking factors of how I would go about actually finding the perfect keyword. So #1, I've made videos about this in my affiliate marketing course that's free here on YouTube. You can check it out. It should be showing up at the top. I also have it linked below in the description. I also go over this in my newsletter a lot, and I've talked about this in my other video on how to write SEO blog posts, which is also linked below. But this whole notion of Google autocomplete. So I'm going to show you how to leverage that. And then through Google autocomplete, we want to make sure that a keyword doesn't have a lot of data in hrefs. So the whole idea with being able to rank something #1 is that you obviously want to find something that's low competition, like a hidden gem that nobody else is targeting, but people are actually searching for. And people like SEOs using these SEO tools, they can't figure out what these keywords are because the SEO tools don't show them as great opportunities. So we're going to find a keyword that there's not a lot of data in Ahrefs about it having a lot of search visitors, but then we're going to confirm if it does using Google Keyword Planner. And then some other things too about like the number of search results on a page being low. And then if there's no existing ranking #1 pages for this keyword or even the core topic. And then also I think the only way that you can really rank #1 really fast in 24 hours is if you already have topical authority in whatever you're talking about and you have existing articles or web pages that are ranking ideally #1 in Google for a specific keyword that is related to the keyword you want to go after. So then you can go back and interlink those. So enough of rambling. All this is going to make sense as you watch this entire video. But step 1 is to first actually come up with like a topic that you want to target. So over the past couple of years, I've developed topical authority within the AI marketing space. If you actually look up AI marketing, one of my pages comes up on the first page of Google. And in that article, I'm reviewing a bunch of my favorite AI marketing tools. And actually, there's another AI automation tool or AI marketing tool called Gumloop that has been growing that I've been using and I love. And so I wrote a review for them and I actually rank #2 for their actual keyword Gumloop for the brand name. And if I look up Gumloop review, I'm ranking #1. And so the first step is to have existing articles that rank pretty strong in a specific niche, in this case, AI marketing. And I have an AI marketing tools blog post and I have an AI marketing tool review blog post. Now, what I want to do is I want to continue to expand on this. And so I don't want to actually go out and create a new article that is some other random topic, like let's say it's about email marketing or something, because that's not going to rank in 24 hours for sure not. And it probably won't rank #1 or on the first page for a long time. That AI marketing tools article, it was the first AI marketing thing I wrote. And then as I wrote other things around AI and marketing, it started to rank better, but it took around 2 years for that to rank really strong. And so I'm trying to do this in 24 hours. And the only way I can do that is if I leverage existing topics that are ranking pretty strong. So what I want to do is actually take my Gumloop review, and because I want to get more conversions and not just vanity metrics like traffic, I want to stay around like the tool area. So I mentioned this in my affiliate marketing video on like how to actually go after keywords that drive conversions versus keywords that drive traffic. And I haven't talked about this a little bit more in my software SaaS SEO course, which I'm not trying to pitch in this video, but basically the money keyword that I'm mentioning in the beginning of this video is like a keyword that actually drives conversion. So in my case, it's driving affiliate commissions, but it could be in your case driving clients to your services. It can be driving customers to your products. And one of the best ways to do this is to review 2 different products in a space. And if you're a business, what you can do is say review 2 popular products in your niche, and then you can actually insert yourself into that conversation, like A versus B. But then if you don't like any of these, here's our product, which is C. But in this case, I want to start comparing Gumloop with other products in the space. So the Google autocomplete strategy is you start typing in a keyword and then you start seeing what autocompletes. So in this case, I'm going to type in Gumloop. I'm going to hit space, and we can see already a handful of things coming up. Gumloop review, Gumloop AI, Gumloop pricing, Series A versus Make, all the way down to versus N8N and versus Zapier. So this is actually a pretty good sign that people are searching Gumloop versus other tools in this space. So let's actually type in versus and hit space. And now we can see in order, usually when Google autocomplete is showing you a certain order, like this first one compared to this very, very bottom one, it means that it's in the order of how commonly searched those queries are. So in this case, if we ignore this game loop stuff and we look at just Gumloop in general, we can see Gumloop versus N8N is being searched the most, then Make, then Zapier. So if I actually, let's start searching all of these. So Gumloop versus N8N, Gumloop versus, we'll do Zapier, and Gumloop versus Make. So if we actually look at Gumloop versus Make, it's so funny because my article is coming up and around my Gumloop review, and this means that this space is so untapped. But if we actually go back into our notes, so here I mentioned that, Google autocomplete, let's actually put a check for that because we found 3 different keywords that we want to go after, potentially. But what we also want to do is figure out that there's no existing page ranking number 1 for that keyword. So actually, I'm going to put that as like the second part because that's a really important one. So if we go back, we can see that the target keyword here is Gumloop versus Make. And actually, Gumloop has its own blog article targeting Gumloop versus Make. And because it's by Gumloop, chances are that we'll never really outrank them. Maybe, but it'd be insanely hard. And our goal is to get number 1 in this video. So this might not be an option. Funny enough, we're already ranking number 2. So I am pretty confident that if we write an article on Gumloop versus Make and link it in this article, that we could rank number 2 for this keyword, but we're trying to rank number 1. So Gumloop versus Make, not a good choice. Gumloop versus Zapier, same thing as the Gumloop versus Make. Funny enough, my article is coming number 2, but as we can see, Gumloop has their own blog posts on Gumloop versus Make, and it's going to be almost impossible to outrank them because it is by the actual brand that's publishing that page. So no go. Here we are on Gumloop versus N8N. As we can see, nothing coming up from, even if I go to the second page, funny enough, my article, second page, but we can see nothing is actually coming up on this topic from gumloop.com. So the top ranking article, we can see, if we actually open it, we could see Gumloop versus N8N, a developer's perspective. One thing I can right away tell is that the URL slug is not directly targeting the main keyword, which is Gumloop versus N8N. It actually is listing out the full title. This is something that I mentioned in the free affiliate marketing course video that I made, that you should always have, if you're targeting a keyword, it should always be like that, like you're targeting the main keyword in the URL slug. So the fact that they're not is a pretty good sign. And this article is just so simple. It's not really comparing much. It says a developer's perspective. And if you actually think of somebody searching Gumloop or N8N, a lot of them are marketers where they necessarily aren't developers. So this isn't even really probably serving the right intent. Then Reddit comes up, and we have some other of these like software review sites, which are not that helpful. There is like a Gumloop forum of something coming up about them, and the Gumloop review for this bottom article or bottom page. So if we go back to this, we can see that existing page ranking number 1 for target keyword doesn't exist. So that's perfect. Now, what we want to do is actually go into a keyword research tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush and look at the data on, is there actual traffic to Gumloop versus N8N? So here I am in Ahrefs. I'm going to type in Gumloop versus N8N, and we can see there's not a lot of data around this keyword. It actually says no data for this keyword. And it has global search volume and search volume, but traffic potential not available. This is actually really good. Ideally, this keyword would actually not even show 50 or 20 here, would still say not available for all of these. As you can see, there's literally no data available for this keyword, which a regular SEO would be like, there's no data for this keyword, I'm not going after it. But this is where like the smart big brain comes in, and we're like, actually, no one's going to be targeting this keyword. This is potentially a hidden gem because it has shown up in Google autocomplete fairly quickly. So how do we actually confirm that people are actually searching this? For example, if it said not available for the search volume numbers, well, we're going to take the keyword again, and we're going to head over into Google Ads. So we're going to look at Google Keyword Planner. It's a free tool. Just sign up with a Google Ads account and you can get access to Keyword Planner. You can just Google search Keyword Planner and it should come up. But here we want to go to Get Search Volume and Forecasts. And I'm just going to paste in our keyword, Gumloop versus N8N. And here we can see monthly searches, 10 to 100, which is great. It means people are actually searching that keyword. And don't worry, if it says 10 to 100, it could actually be a lot more. Sometimes it's not fully accurate, but the fact that it actually shows a number is great. Another great sign is that it says the 3-month change is plus 900%. So it's a keyword that is continuing to grow, and there's no data on the year-over-year change because it is such a new topic and a new keyword, and the competition is low. Now, all this data is relating to Google Ads, but it still is the Google platform, so it can help us kind of get a better idea of how it can like inform our SEO strategy as well. So going back to our doc, bada bing, bada boom, not a lot of Ahrefs data. Keyword Planner shows searches but low search volume. Now, the next thing we want to do is the number of results on the page are low. This is something I have never seen a single SEO person talk about. This is like the most underrated thing to look at. Actually, the fastest I've ever ranked an article was another review article similar to the Gumloop review article that I wrote, and I ranked it number 1 in 6 hours because there was no search results for that term. What do I mean by that? When you Google something, say in this one, Gumloop versus N8N, if we go to tools and simply just clicking on tools, it'll say about how many search results. In this case, 4,200 results come up, which is extremely low. Yes, that is super low. The article that I ranked number 1 in 6 hours for, if I remember correctly, it had like 15,000 results. So the lower this, the better. For example, if I were to search literally anything else, let's say even just Gumloop on its own, and I hit tools, we can see 55,000 results. So more, but that is still definitely low. I think anything under 100,000 results is extremely low. For example, something that might be a little bit higher is a tool like Zapier. If I search Zapier and I hit tools, we can see 50 million results. If I looked up literally just AI, we can see, what is that? 17 billion results. So comparing that to 4,000 or 4,200 results for the Gumloop versus N8N results, it is extremely low. So again, back to our doc, yes, that is perfect. And existing topical authority, and do we already have pages that exist? Yes, I showed you earlier in the beginning, I already had a Gumloop review article that ranked really well. I have an AI marketing article that ranks really well. So I think we're in a great position to get this to rank number 1 in 24 hours. I'm not sure. We're going to have to watch to find out. But I know for sure I can get us to rank number 1. But let's see if we can do it in 24 hours. So step 1, find the perfect keyword. We found Gumloop versus N8N. Now we're going to go and write a banger of an article. Okay, so this is my standard article template that I have every time I write a blog post. I'm just going to go ahead and make a copy of this. If you want to get access to this template, go and watch my How to Write an SEO blog post video. You can actually watch that video now for this entire part. I'm just going to skim through this, but I literally have like a 40+ minute video on how to do this whole section of writing an SEO blog post. I'm going to link it up somewhere over here. It's also in the description, but this template should be in that video description. You can go download it. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this together. All right, so it's been we're about 30 minutes in, and we have our keyword and we have our outline. So I put together this outline just now, did it off camera, but basically what I just went through is I was just looking at my own review article that I wrote before. I was looking at more of the Gumloop side. I was looking at more of the N88 features, N8N, crazy name. And basically this is my outline. So I have different H2s. So this overview of Gumloop versus N8N. This is going to be like a TLDR, too long didn't read section. So I'm actually going to write this at the very end. I have another H2. So who is the tool best for? And then a couple of H3 headings. H2. We're going to talk about features like the visual workflow ability. We're going to talk about when they're reviewing Gumloop versus N8N. Kind of overall thoughts on both of those and who I think each platform is for. So this is the full outline. And now all we have to do is actually sit and write the article. Now, I wouldn't recommend actually using AI to write a full article. You can use AI to help you with certain sections. But for example, like this entire outline, I didn't use AI to create this outline. I just created it based off of kind of my own intuition of what I think the user would want. Now, what we can do is actually take this outline and give it to ChatGPT and say, hey, what do you think of my outline? Anything I can improve? And then you can kind of gauge whatever recommendations it gives you. But for this, I'm going to try to keep it 100% human in this entire video. So as you can see, the time is 11:20 a.m. now. So I'm just going to go ahead and write this article. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours and 26 minutes. As you can see, the timer is still going. We have 21 hours left in this, so we're about 3 hours in, and I'm done with the article. To be honest, my brain's a little fried right now because I wrote really fast and it was just a lot of knowledge dump. But here's the article. As you can see, gone through this entire thing. I was super in depth. Started with an intro. So I said, so you're getting a lot of things that I do for the intro is I try to confirm that the reader is on the right article. So I said, so you're getting deep into the AI automation space. You've now run into a classic dilemma, two great tools, but you can't seem to pick the right one. First world problems. Am I right? You just searched online for Gumloop versus N8N. So this is the actual keyword. We want this to be really early on into the article, generally within the first few sentences in the intro. And then I went on, and as you can see, I'm linking out to one of my top articles, and then I talked about what is each tool best for. There was a section here on overview, but I deleted that, and I just made this who is each tool best for the overview, and I also added a conclusion that's more of an overview. I thought it would be too redundant, but I basically explained that. I went through all the top features of each platform. I went through and took screenshots on the platforms. I'm not going to go too in depth into exactly what I wrote here. If you're watching this video, this article is already live, so you can go ahead and check it out for yourself. But I went through, as you can see, super in depth, went over the pricing. There is some areas where I do still need to add screenshots. Like I said, image of pricing plans here. And then, yeah, happy automating, the last line. If I actually go to tools, click word count, we can see it's almost 3,500 words. So yeah, this normally 5 years ago, this would have taken me 8 hours to write or an entire day. And I did it in about 2.5 hours. I think that just comes with writing a lot and getting fast at it, and also writing on a topic that you know pretty well. I knew these tools pretty well. So now one thing I actually want to do too is I just want to run this through an AI checker. I know there's mixed reviews on if AI detectors work or not, but let's just run this through and just make sure that I'm proving to you that I actually wrote this and I didn't use ChatGPT to just spin up this entire article. So here I'm just going to copy this entire post. I'm going to go into Originality AI. I'm going to go to start a new scan. I'm going to paste the article. I'm also going to take the title. As you can see, yeah, just under 3,500 words, which I think is a pretty solid amount. I'm just going to format this as the H1 title, and we'll do a plagiarism check, and we'll just an AI check, and we'll just run it. Done. Yeah, I'm pretty tired, to be honest. That article. It was only 2.5 hours, but that drained me. Hey, would you look at that? All right, 100% confident that it's human written. Bada bing, bada boom. Yes. There is a 2% plagiarism match. I don't know where that's from, but it's fine. It's good. Let's now go ahead and publish this in our CMS. So the CMS of choice here is Webflow. I use Webflow for every website that I build. I think it's the best website builder for SEO and building websites. So let's go ahead and add that. So I'm just going to go through this process here and just start pasting all of the information in. As you can see, the publish date today, April 22nd. The time is 1:52 p.m. So I'm just going to go through and add this in, and we'll get back in a second. Okay, so I just went through and I did everything here. As you can see, I've organized it all. I even added some videos from N8N and Gumloop. So lots of videos in here. I went through Figma and I even designed the image. This is all stuff that I teach in my free affiliate marketing course video and also in the how to write a blog post video. Also, if you don't want to read, if you just Google search SEO blog writing, I have an article that comes up on how I write these SEO blog posts. So at this point, we've gone through writing an article. We've optimized it for on-page SEO. With our outline and the keywords and all that. Again, watch those videos. And now we're about to publish it. So let's go ahead and do that. And before I hit publish, let's actually look at the time. Look at that, 2:22 on April 22nd. Say that's good luck. This is the time on the computer. Let's now publish this article in 3, 2, oh, look, an affiliate commission came in. I do this stuff for a living. 3, 2, 1, and publish. Boom. Now let's check the actual site real quick. So if I go to the Marketer Milk blog, I can see there we go. The article is now live. Perfect. It looks good. Does it look good? Yes, it looks good. Now let's go through a few other things. So now what we have to do is we published it. We have to add it to our sitemap and we have to request it to be indexed. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So I have a manual sitemap. I won't get too into this. I talk about this in the affiliate video. And then also this is going to depend on the website platform you're using, but I need to make sure that the blog article is in the sitemap so we can publish that. Let's publish the site. This way that we can submit this sitemap and also request to index the article in Google so we can hopefully get ranking in 20 hours from now. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now before I actually fully submit the sitemap and index it to Google Search Console, I'm going to jump to interlinking with existing articles, so step 4. So one thing we want to do is we want to speed up the indexing process as fast as possible, and we want to let Google know that, this article is a part of a bigger topic that we've already talked about. So let's go into Google, and what I want to do is search sitemarketermilk.com/blog. So this is going to show up all the blog posts on my blog. And then what I want to do is I want to link this new blog post on Gumloop versus N8N. I want to link it in any article that I'm talking about Gumloop or N8N. So one thing I can do is I can type in N8N. And as you can see, I have an article that I actually published last week on the top N8N alternatives. So I can actually go ahead and link it to that one. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go back to my CMS. I'm going to search N8N. Here's the alternatives, and I'm going to find a good place that I can interlink this existing article. So in this article of N8N alternatives, I actually mentioned Gumloop as the first one, so I think this is a perfect place to add this in. All right, so I wrote, if you want to dive deeper into the pros and cons of Gumloop and how it compares to N8N, do a comma. You can check out this Gumloop versus N8N article I wrote, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to add this link here from the new article that we just published, and I'm going to republish this. Now let's go ahead and rinse and repeat this with a few other articles. So now we're back in Google. I do mention in my gum loop review, it looks like N8N. So let's actually go into the gum loop review and talk about that. I'm going to add this like related read section here, and I'm going to just link out to that article. I'm going to make it open in a new tab, and then I'm going to republish. Now let's do this in one more place. Ideally, I want to do this in 3 different places. So we're going to go back to Google, and I'm actually going to search up gum loop this time. And I think I can include it in this other article about AI agents. And we're going to go ahead and republish that. All right, now we're going to go back into Google Search Console and submit our sitemap and index our blog posts. So here I'm in my Google Search Console. I'm going to go to sitemap. I'm going to paste in my sitemap. And now the sitemap is successful. I'm going to go in, I'm going to search also the article. And as we can see, it's brand new, so I'm going to test live URL first, just to make sure that everything's properly running and it's fine. And now once it says URL is available to Google, I'm just going to request indexing. And I'm going to click on Google Index to just do it again right here, request indexing. And boom, now we're done. And we have 20 hours and 20 minutes remaining. At this point, we just have to wait. So I'm probably going to just go on through the rest of my day. It's 2:30 p.m. Just go on, and then I'm going to go to bed, and then hopefully in the morning we're going to check back and see how we're doing. Okay, here's an update. Sorry for the potato quality camera. I'm using my laptop's webcam. This is the time, 7:30 p.m. We still have 15 hours and 20 minutes to go. And what I'm going to do now is actually, let's figure out how the article is doing. So we're going to look up gum loop versus N8N. Oh dang. Okay, we are 5 hours ago, number 3. That's a good sign, although it does worry me that if we're here at 5 hours ago, I don't know if we're going to move up this fast. I do think that this article will rank number 1 eventually, but in 24 hours it's going to be hard. So there's probably one more trick up my sleeve that I can do here, just to give it throughout the night when we go to sleep, and that would be to add it into an old blog post and then go and update that blog post to today's published date, so like doing a full big update. So let's go ahead and try to do that. Okay, some time has passed. As you can see, it's 8:06. We have about 14 hours and 44 minutes left. And what I'm going to do now is I actually, while I was turning off the camera for a sec, I wrote this, which is essentially this article. I've been wanting to update it for a while now. It's an article I have around AI marketing tools, but I haven't mentioned gum loop in this blog post, because right when I republished it before I discovered gum loop. And so now I have this article, and it's the 25 best marketing tools, and I want to make it 26 and add gum loop. And the way that I'm going to do that is I wrote all this out, and I'm also taking advantage of adding in that review article that I had written a long time ago, but then that new article, the gum loop versus N8N article, that's in there too. So I'm going to actually take this, and we are going to create a new, and I'm going to take this, and we're going to put them as the number 2 option. So I'm going to give this a sec and come back once I've actually added this to the blog post and went through and fixed all these numbers. Okay, now I'm just creating a button for the blog post. This is something I've actually shown in the affiliate marketing course video, but here I'm just going to add the button. You'll see what I mean of this in a sec. I'm gonna add the image. All right, so I went through and added gum loop in here with links, updated everything. It's 26 now instead of 25. We're gonna change that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and add a new publish date. So today is the 22nd still. And then that's it. We're gonna refresh this. I'm a little nervous actually, because this blog post does do really well. So, and now if we just look up AI marketing tools and we go to this blog post, we could see 26 AI marketing tools. We can scroll through and we can see gum loop is here, and here's that try for free button, and we have our article that goes straight to here, with a link that goes straight to our new article. So hopefully this actually helps us rank better What I'm going to do now is take this and I'm going to re-index this in Google Search Console. So now in Google Search Console, I'm going to search it and I'm going to request the index. All right, and now the indexing has been requested and we're going to close. All right, so that's also this optional step in last 4, which is update an existing article and to boost the indexing process. And that's it. It's 8:15 p.m. and we do have 14 hours and 35 minutes left. So now hopefully there's really nothing else we can do here. We could do this again with another blog post, but I'm just going to leave it at that. And we're going to wait and see what happens. So stay tuned. Catch you tomorrow morning. The moment of truth. So it's the next day. We have about an hour and 25 minutes, as you can see on the timer. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference an hour 25 from now. So let's just go ahead and look at the results. So we're going to go to Google. We're going to type in gum loop versus N8N. And we're still at number 3. Dang. I guess you win some and you lose most. But realistically, this is actually, while a failure in the eyes of trying to get this to rank in 24 hours, number 1, I think this is still a really good success. The fact that we got it to the number 3 position. And if you remember, it was 5 hours ago when we checked last time, we were still in number 3. So nothing has changed since then that we last time checked. I've actually had articles like this show up on in the first page of Google, like in the middle of it, like this one is, after the first day that I published it. And that's always been a leading indicator to the article ranking number 1 for that keyword in the coming weeks to potentially 1 to 2 months. So I'm pretty confident about this article doing well. I think what happened here, and while it was kind of a failure in the sense of this video title and the objective of this video, even in that small failure of it not ranking in 24 hours, I think there's always something to be learned with whatever failure, not just in this, but in life. And I think in this case, what I learned is that the reason why it probably stopped at number 3 when it first got indexed and it didn't shoot to number 1 was because two things. Well, actually, these 2 top linking pages right here. So in this case, I did mention that this gum loop versus N8N article is not like the best on-page SEO is not there. It's also talking about a developer's perspective, which, someone might be like a marketer or somebody else searching for this, so it might not completely serve the search intent. Maybe it is. There's also this Reddit thread, and so that one's also hard to compete with right away. So I think what happened is Google saw that, above all of these, we ranked better right away. And look, our gum loop article is even here already. Above all of whatever these links are, it came up better and it kept pushing it up. But then it hit a point where it got to, of course, this videos thing, can't really do much about that. But it hit a point where it hit Reddit. And now it has to figure out over the next few weeks if the Reddit link actually serves the intent better than this article. And if it doesn't, then our article will outrank the Reddit thread. And then it's going to also figure out, does our article do a better job of explaining gum loop versus N8N than this first top article. But because of the fact that we picked a keyword where there was the top ranking article was somewhat about our keyword and it was a blog post, as you could see, and there was a Reddit thread, I think that's what stopped it at number 3. In the past, I've had an article, actually the gum loop review article that I wrote, this same thing happened, and after about a month and a half, it started ranking number 1 and outranked Reddit. So I'm pretty confident that we'll get a better spot. Depending on when you're watching this, you can search this keyword and see if that's happened or not. But I think if I were to do this again, I would find a keyword where the top link, the number 1 ranking link, was not fulfilling the search intent at all, as in it wasn't even targeting that keyword. For example, when I did create an article that did rank in 6 hours number 1, this was like a year ago, there was no existing page for that keyword that was ranking for that specific keyword or actually targeting that keyword. And so that was probably the reason why that happened. Anyways, I hope you learned something in this video and you were just as impressed to get to number 3 in 24 hours, which I think is still a win. But maybe next time we'll try something different and get to number 1 in maybe even less than 24 hours. Who knows? All right, if you want to see more videos on SEO and stuff like this, leave a comment below and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.